Beautiful sunshine was on tap for us today, but can we hold on to that sunshine all weekend long? I'm Greg Morris. We'll break it down for you in the forecast coming up next. What a beautiful day we had here in Central Park. 66 degrees, the normal high 67. We're finally back where we should be here in the tri-state area. Warm temperatures out to the west, 79 degrees in Buffalo, 72 degrees in Burlington. The cool spot on the map, 53 degrees in Boston. Northeasterly winds bringing in colder air across the northeast. But here, right now in New York City, we're looking pretty good. 48 degrees in New York City, 62 degrees in Pittsburgh, and again, holding on at 50 degrees in Beantown. Satellite radar composite shows that high pressure is in control for much of the northeast, and that trend is going to continue right on through the weekend. There's that big storm system that brought the heavy snowfalls in Rochester, Minnesota. Big boomers falling across the Tennessee Valley tonight. But for us here in the northeast, we're looking A-OK. Futurecast in motion for the next 48 hours that will put it in play from Saturday right on through Sunday. And you can see no appreciable changes. Fair skies, just a few clouds working their way into the forecast, but we're looking A-OK. Your forecast calls for bright sunshine for your Saturday, and the 7-day forecast carries that trend right on through your weekend. Highs in the mid-60s. The next chance of storms doesn't come until midweek, but temperatures warm up as well. 75 degrees for your Thursday. Absolutely, the sequester compromised air safety. Think about it in these terms. Everything in aviation safety is based on redundancy. Redundancy of equipment and redundancy of personnel. Equipment backs up equipment, and personnel backs up personnel. You never see any less than 2 crew members on a commercial flight deck. So when we're talking about a 10% reduction in FAA staffing levels, like we saw during the period of the sequester, we're talking about 1 less individual being in place to monitor the ATC system. In other words, 1 less individual to potentially catch a mistake. Remember, the #1 cause of aviation accidents is human error. I think frequent travelers know that delays have become the norm in air travel, unfortunately, but for a variety of reasons. Weather, a big player in delays day in and day out. Major weather systems on the map like snowstorms in the winter, thunderstorms in the springtime and summer season, all cause air traffic controllers to reroute traffic around these big weather systems during the event. And volume, another major culprit on ATC radar screens. Traffic converging in the same geographical spot at the same time. Take New York metropolitan areas like Newark, LaGuardia, and Kennedy's airports, combined with smaller but equally busy fields in the same region, Teterboro and Westchester. All of this traffic converging in the same geographical area causes a bottleneck in the sky. Now, that causes delays day in and day out and a major headache for travelers. But the type of delays that we saw during the sequester period were a little bit different. We saw delays ranging from 90 minutes to 3 hours, stretching from the first flight of the day, the kickoff flights before sunrise, into the last flight touchdown. And that is a bit unusual. Well, should they have occurred? That is the $1,000,000 question. We can say this. 10% of the FAA staffing levels were affected. We know that much. We know that 1 individual at the FAA at any given location was forced not to come to work every other pay period or every other week. But the effects of those furloughs were staggered, if you will, to offset the effects and offset potential delays. What we know is this as well. An FAA source very familiar with air traffic control operations tells me that air traffic controllers are prohibited from slowing down traffic. It would be seen as an illegal job action. But our source goes on to say that if they demonstrated that they could handle the traffic management at reduced staffing levels, then they would never get the staffing levels back to where they should be, to where they were pre-sequester. So essentially, they would never get those staffing levels back to where they feel they should be for the traveling public. And with the politics and economics at play today, that's hardly a point to argue. Absolutely. When I was on the line flying, at a time when the air traffic controllers were negotiating contracts, we saw similar delays system-wide. Mysteriously, those delays disappeared when their contracts were signed. And that was way before any government sequestration. Well, infrastructure comes to mind. Infrastructure that meets the eye. Take, for example, LaGuardia Airport. Some refer to it jokingly as La Garbage. In any case, a busy airport like that, one of the busiest in the nation, has a structure comparable to what you might find in a third world nation. But it's not only the infrastructure that meets the eye, it's the infrastructure behind the scenes. The modernization or lack of modernization in the air traffic control system itself. Many of our neighbors in Europe and Southeast Asia have invested a lot of money in technology, and this lack of technology, still rooted within our ATC system, slows us down, causes less direct routing, and more general system-wide delays.